grassroots challenges that, okay, we are live. Can everyone hear? I've not had a hello with Mr. Jha. I've not heard him. So, Mr. Jha, can you hear me?
Sir, we are unable to hear you.
I can hear you people, but I don't know what has happened,
Sir, your voice is really low.
Can you hear me now?
Not that clearly.
We can begin. We are live.
Okay. Okay, I'm taking help of my son now.
Sure, sir. Allow us to begin. So, welcome everyone to episode 15 of our web series, Decoding NEP 2020, brought to you by EduDev's School of Inspired Teaching and Learning and powered by Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham University. I, Kuhika Dhingra, on behalf of EduDev's, present to you our esteemed panelists who have gathered for an enriching deliberation on today's theme, digital learning and massive open online courses. Honored to welcome our panelist, Mr. Ankur Dhawan, President, Study Abroad, Upgrad, South Asia's largest higher edtech company. Mr. Dhawan has more than a decade and a half of experience as a business strategist and is renowned for incubating a new and differentiated study abroad business, which will be value accretive for the entire industry. He has been awarded as one amongst the most influential 25 e-commerce professionals of India by CMO Asia in 2016. Apart from being an exceptional leader, Mr. Dhawan is highly appreciated for his amicable personality and metamorphic ideologies. We look forward to hearing your insights today, sir.
Thanks for inviting me.
Introducing an eminent edu leader, Dr. Vinita Sai, Chairperson of Science and Humanities at the School of Engineering, Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham University, Chennai campus. She holds more than 25 years of educational experience as a mentor, administrator, and leader. Awarded the Vocational Excellence Award from the Rotary Club of Madras East in 2005, Dr. Sai has also been an expert on Colors TV Kodeswari, the Tamil version of KBC, exclusively for women in 2019. It is her constant endeavor to learn and thereby be a better leader every day. We are so honored to have you on our panel today, ma'am. Proudly welcoming Mr. Hemant Kumar Jha, Principal, RS International School, Moradabad, as our panelist today. He has been an integral part of several leading educational organizations, including the Heritage School, Rukmani Devi Public School, and Mount Abu School. Mr. Jha has been honored with numerous accolades, including the International Education Excellence Award 2017 by Megatime 4 Media Private Limited and the Progressive Principles of India Award 2017 by Rethink India. An ardent debater and chess player, he is determined to bring everlasting transformation in the field of education. Thank you for gracing the panel today, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I proudly introduce our moderator for the day, Ms. Devyani Kapoor. A former principal, author, and passionate edu leader, Ms. Kapoor carries over 3 decades of experience in the education sector. A pragmatic thought leader, she is the founder and CEO of EduDev's School of Inspired Teaching and Learning. Accredited Iconic Edupreneur of the Year Award in World Education Awards 2021 by INSEAD EdSpace, she is renowned for introducing numerous innovative pedagogical techniques and creating new benchmarks in the field of education. And before I hand over the baton to Ms. Kapoor, once again, I welcome all of you who have just joined today. All the previous episodes of Decoding NEP are available on our YouTube channel, and the link to which is put in the chat box below. I request you to stay tuned till the end, as our panelists today would address some critical questions raised by all of you. And now I hand it over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Kuhika, for an illustrious introduction of each of us. And with this, I warmly welcome each of our esteemed panelists to the 14th episode of our web series, Decoding National Education Policy. I'm really surprised. We've done 14 episodes. In our last episode, we discussed an important aspect of technology in assessment. Our esteemed panelists deliberated on various aspects of technology usage in evaluation. This time, we have yet another important, interesting, and a very, very pertinent dimension of technology, which has become the buzz in the market: digital learning and MOOCs. Let's understand. Online learning has been made both teachers and students become tech savvy. Various mobile phone and computer applications and technology-based programs have emerged as an alternative to traditional chalk and talk methodologies of classroom. And this all happened during the lockdown. Both teachers and student community were quick enough to acclimatize themselves with computers, smartphones, and actually took this challenge as an opportunity to upskill themselves. Technology is the biggest enabler, you see, and it has become an important part of our education system. Massive open online courses, MOOCs, have emerged as the upgraded part of distance learning in the digital era. MOOC is a self-paced model for delivering learning content online to any person who you see wants to take up a course without any kind of impediments like distance, space. These courses are providing, surprisingly, massive enrollments for learners via free access and self-paced opportunities in a learner-centered platform. If we look at e-learning, that is the latest and the easiest way, which I think every learner would have to, and every educator would have to adapt and adopt to. It's an umbrella term which consists of online learning, virtual learning, mobile learning, distance learning, flexible learning, and MOOCs. With the imposition of lockdown, due to the spread of corona all over the country since 2020, we saw that the attending online classes became the new normal. That has taken the center stage in a student's life now. Online education, of course, allows students to attend classes from any location while allowing to reach out to an extensive network of students. There is another reality to it. While on the other hand, we all understand the geographical and cultural diversity of India, and we marvel it, the education system often suffers due to the existence of a huge economic divide. Access to online education still remains to be a big challenge for many due to various issues like power supply, internet connectivity, affordability, etc. A robust and comprehensive strategy is the need of the hour at an institutional level to address such concerns. Without much ado and without spilling any more beans, let me start today's session. As always, we will be having 3 rounds. First, the ice-breaking round, where each panelist reflects on a single aspect, followed by the specific question round, where a specific question is addressed by each panelist and we understand their perspective on the issue. And last but not the least, the question and answer round, which is the audience queries to our panelists. Moving on to the ice-breaking round, in its latest circular, 8th November, CBSE announced an online course on action research for teachers. The National Education Policy 2020 has a special focus on online education. It realizes technology integration in education. Universities and institutions like NITs and IGNOU will be conducting pilot research studies for maximizing the benefits of digital learning in India. Meaning, virtual modes of learning will play a very, very prominent part in the education. My question to the panelists is, what is your perspective of universities, schools, and edtech companies? How do you understand this change that is seeping in? The sequence of answers would flow: Dr. Vinita Sai, Mr. Hemant Jha, followed by Mr. Ankur Navan. I would request you to please adhere to the time limits, which is 2 minutes. Yes, Dr. Sai.
Namaskar, and namaskar to all the viewers too, and the other esteemed panelists. It's great to be here. Okay, now, I mean, everything, I think the current generation, I mean, all those who are living today will have their lives divided into pre-COVID and post-COVID. You know, that is how we see today. Now, pre-COVID days also, you know, online education was present. The only thing is Asia, largely, especially India, we did not utilize that much. But I think this has taught us the lesson, you know, the pandemic has taught us a lesson. It has equipped us better. So, you know, we have grown wiser, I feel because of this. So we, as you rightly pointed out, and as the government, I think NEP 2020 is a boon to us. So the hybrid education is going to be the way forward. So we cannot let online education, you know, take a back seat. Now we have seen that many states are also, you know, having colleges and are reopening. So the lockdown has been eased. So that is happening in phases, of course. So does it mean that it is only going to be offline education? No. So, you know, with the pandemic, I think we have come to realize the advantages of online education. So digital, you know, presence. I mean, we are talking about digital India today. I think in the field of education, it is really a dominant factor, especially because of COVID. We know that, you know, if not for this online facility, the whole education system, you know, would have just taken a beating, you know, kind of, it would have just stopped short. So we did not do that. Everybody rose to the occasion. So right from the government, the faculty, students, the institutions, so support from everybody. So this is going to go forward. All of us know, we know that virtual education is a part of education now. So, and the government is doing a lot. You just mentioned about the 8th November circular. Now, another important thing is the opening up of education. Yes, we do have shortcomings in the form of network connectivity, in the form of maybe it is out of reach for a few to own laptops or you know, computers, but they have mobiles. So mobile assisted learning is here. Now, it is the most important factor, I think, is the access, you know, the accessibility that this provides. Now, government has really thrown open the vast resources that are there. So everything has been thrown open to faculty, students for free. I think that is one of the greatest things. Again, information. So we saw information revolution, but now, it's there at the tips. I mean, we just have, we should know where to look for. Now that is most important. So once we know that, we can get information right in our homes, just sitting at our tables, at our laptops, we can get it. So I think that is the most important feature, I would say, of this digital revolution. So for people to be able to access irrespective of where they are. So anybody and everybody can access, an IIT lab or an NIT lab or even our own institute, so anywhere. So it is no more in pockets. So just as civilization is now, we spoke about local, then global, then local. So also, I think in the field of education now, this opening up, it's just opened the floodgates, I would say. So not just within India, even international audience, so even international expertise, I would say. So we are able to bring, so this assimilation of people, this assimilation of knowledge, of resources, I think that is the strongest factor that we have seen, in my opinion.
Very well said. And I think you just summed it up so beautifully that yes, uh, COVID just boosted a trend which was, lying under the carpet. Not that the need was there, but now that the schools would go offline, institutions would go offline, technology is here to stay because we've tasted the benefits of the advantages of digital learning. And all that we need to do is just create a uniformity in across the country in terms of its accessibility, availability, and approachability. Thank you so much. And I really liked when you spoke about the information revolution. Overnight, when pandemic happened and everybody started, you know, uh, collating and disseminating information, and that was a great revolution that happened. Moving on, thank you so much, Dr. Sai. Moving on to Mr. Hemant Jha. What is your take on this? Ji, sir.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Kapoor. And I heard Madam Vinita ji very minutely. He had already spoken most of the things. I like to tell you one thing that tectonic shift in society and business, they occur when unexpected events force widespread experimentation around a new idea. I just give an example to you. During one World War II, for instance, when American men went off to war, women proved that they could do men's work, and they did it well. Women never looked back after that. Similarly, in 2000, problem demanded the extensive use of Indian software engineers, and that led to the tripling of employment-based established that credentials, and they catapulted them. And I tell you, I proudly tell you that as world leaders in addressing technology problems like Alphabet, Microsoft, IBM, Adobe, they are all headed by India-born engineers today. I just share my own experience to you, Mrs. Kapoor, that when in 1991-92, some people came and asked the essence of computer learning and the use of computer. Some of the old people or maybe 40 plus, the teachers, they were saying that, sir, this is not the right time to hold the mouse. They thought that it is something mouse and rat. That was the question. So they thought that, sir, let us get retired, and this is not the time. So they actually continued the traditional way of teaching. Now the question comes, the pandemic. I tell you, we must hope for the best, but we should prepare for the worst. This should be the philosophy of life. And as a part of preparation for the worst, on-learning education did not remain an option. It became an essence. It became a compulsion. And today, not I'm speaking as a sage on the stage, but guiding by the side. I do want to be a guide by the side. Wherever I work, especially in the progressive schools, whatever the NEP is saying today, many schools had started this project in their private sectors, in the private schools, long time back. They had understood the essence of these things. They probably they were far-sighted. I am not trying to compare private and public, but even in this scenario, if you try to compare the top private universities, they have the better IT infrastructure and the higher IT support, staff ratio for each faculty compared to budget staff public universities. And that is why they could survive in this situation. So my focus is that online learning, digital, of course, digital divide is there. Geographically, we have seen that many people, especially in the remote areas, did struggle a lot in order to access. They had, what did they do? I'm just telling you that in some, I went to a village, the child had only one smartphone. They clicked the photo and first the teacher clicked the photo and sent through WhatsApp. The student did the work and send it back. That was only, and that also was very troubling for them, because sometimes they did not have electricity, sometimes they did not have internet connection. So that problem was there. But I am telling you with full conviction that where there is a will, there is a way. Many times people often say that how is it possible to go for 50 hours learning session, training session for the teachers? I just tell you one experimentation that I did. Generally, what do schools do, especially on Teachers' Day? That they call the students from class 12 and they make them teachers. Up they make them teachers for a day and they go and take classes. And what we did, that in order to make it comfortable for other students and to make the students, senior students also to learn the art of teaching, we invited them in place of the teachers and I sent the teachers to attend the training session and the students took the classes. And I am telling you with full honesty that, they did so well, the children enjoyed their classes so well that the actual teacher could not have even done because they felt what do the children need, and that gave exposure to the students also. So my question to you is that online education became a compulsion. There is no doubt about it. COVID-19 gave an alarm. It is also not going to, though I hope that everything should be fine, we should come back to normal. But then, as I told you in the beginning, that hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. There is no option of online education.
Rightly said, sir, that one that, of course, you have to hope for the best and prepare for the worst. But the reality is that one, we talk about that technology and online learning are here to stay. That is going to be the need of the hour. That is going to be the world order. But when we also look at the challenge of the economic divide, we can't shut our eyes on that. So that is a big challenge. And let's hear out what Mr. Ankur Dhawan has to say, because he being from Upgrad, I'm sure he will have some very different sides and maybe some solutions to this as well. Over to you, Mr. Dhawan.
Thanks a lot, Devyani, for starting the session. See, my views are very, I'll not take too much of time here, but my views are very clear. The online learning thing did not start with the COVID. If you know, in 2020 budget, before the COVID itself, the government came up with the law saying that all the high-ranking universities can start offering online degrees. So the need was identified much before the actual COVID hit us. Our company started in 2015. And the reason why we exist and reason why now all the universities, even my dear colleague, Ms. Sai also knows that their college also has an online program for learners to join, is the question, the point which you started with. I'll just go back to that one. The government has come up with a circular saying that online learning, training, teacher training has to be done. Because when it comes to the question of scale, if you want to train a lakh student or a lakh of teachers across the country, you cannot go offline. If you would start offline, then this is going to take humongous time and nothing will be achieved. This is where the online learning is going to play a major role when it comes to scalability. Even from our point of view, the kind of scale which we have achieved and the kind of number of students we are teaching, even through our Indian university partners, they cannot teach that number of students in their campus. They don't have space, they don't have real estate. And real estate is very costly. I think all of us agree. So main point is that if you want to scale learning, and I come from a background, in my previous role, I was running a scholarship firm, and I know that time we used to, major reason why we existed that time was the gross enrollment ratio of India is 25-26%. How do I take it to 35%, 40%? Unless you enable online learning, that cannot improve. The learners who are coming from tier 2 town, tier 3 towns, they cannot come to big cities like Delhi and do education. So I remember one of the students who got a very high scholarship from Ashoka University could not join Ashoka University because he cannot afford a hostel fees. So even if his tuition fees are free, he cannot. For him, an online learning from Ashoka University would have made a wonder for him. So online learning will exist. It's not going to be replaced. It's not going to become backput. I'll say this will become more prominent, but that does not mean that offline learning will lose its value. I think there is a high value when a student comes to campus, meets with the friends, interact with them. But online learning is making education inclusive, and that is most important. It's not making exclusive. So even a student who could not get into an IIT now studies from an IIT professor while working in his job and while staying at home, does not need to travel. I think that's the wonder of the online learning, which will continue.
Yeah. Very crisp and bang on. Two things: scalability. Nothing can beat an online learning model. If we have to look at the scalability, we have to adapt to online learning. And second thing is that the inclusive nature of the online learning, which is the cherry on the cake that the student gets. I think both these points, I'm sure our viewers would be hearing and would appreciate on the online learning scenario. Thank you so much. And we got some great insights from all our panelists. Moving on to our second round, which is each panelist addresses a specific question. And my first question is to Mr. Hemant Jha. Mr. Jha, you see that NEP also suggests that online tools and platforms like Diksha, Swayam, these are a lot being talked about, will be upgraded with new insight to training content, in-class resources, assessment aids, profiles that will allow seamless interaction. Before we discuss the upgradation, I would like to know from you the current status and the usefulness of these platforms. Do you think people are using them? And if yes, then to what extent? And why do you think then they are not so popular with the students?
Thank you. Your first question was very relevant. I don't want to move.
So be little louder,
Yes,
little more loud. Yeah.
Yes, I don't want to give any controversial statement, but then online tools that you talked about, that why did Diksha and Swam, uh, did not get that popularity with the students. Okay, while students in private schools are opting for advanced gadgets for digital learning, rural schools as students are facing technical challenges with WhatsApp being the only option. Suppose we have many options In progressive schools, we can see Google Classroom, Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Blackboard, Tata Class. But schools located in remote areas with limited availability of electricity and internet that I already reinforced, they had to do with restricted use of WhatsApp to stay connected with their classroom. So I just tell you one example of Faridabad. One of my friends, this is the principal, Jayashree Bhargav, the principal of the school. One of the schools, I don't want to name out the school. That is in a semi-rural area of Faridabad. Most students, she told me that most students come from nearby villages to pursue education. And amid the lockdown, students went back to their homes in areas where there is a problem of electricity and data connectivity. So smooth online education was a huge challenge there. 99% of the families have one smartphone only there. If you go, they don't have more than one smartphone, which is shared by all the members of the family for various purposes. And what happened in the schools? That schools, suppose they had three kids, and that the classes had to go parallel. Who to use? Who will not use? That became a big problem. So in such a scenario, a child misses out on logging in on the line classes held every morning. To deal with this, teachers are writing their, she said to me that they are writing their assignments in the notebook, taking a picture, circulating it on WhatsApp. Similarly, students are completing the assignments in the notebook, clicking a picture, and sending it back to the teacher. So the success of Diksha or Swam that did not become popular because of these fundamental reasons, because others went for the high level, gadgets, and they had many other options. The government and the public sector could not succeed in long term, and because of their accessibility. But the way the government is trying now, we hope that they will also have better access to internet and electricity facility, and the time comes when the problem will be solved. But of course, it will take time to compete with the public sector to compete with the private, because the private, I just tell you one example. When you work in a public sector, even you want to get one computer, installed in a school, you will have to go through a long process. It will take you 2 to 3 months, 4 months. But in private sector, just method is too short, either yes or no, and that can be done within half an hour. So that is why, I have seen that many private forums, private schools, private organizations, they are doing 1,000 times better, much faster, more flexible, in a better way than Diksha or some portal, which could not be very successful. And that is one of the reasons, I think.
Yeah. So that means I take it like this, that Diksha and Swayam are poor man's online, alternatives to online digital learning. But they were definitely not meant to be as created only for the unprivileged. So yeah, their popularity does remain low among the teachers and students. Any other reason that you can suggest? Maybe if very quickly, Mr. Dhawan, very quickly, but any reason which comes to your mind for their not being popular? Is it that they've been created, but they lie neglected?
See,
What could be it?
okay, now that brings to the philosophy which we actually as a company promote, and I think a lot of our competitors also talking about the same thing. There is something, an expectation from a student that he'll be self-motivated and he'll go through the content on his own and he'll do the assignments related to it, is where most of the MOOCs failed in the beginning. If you understand, even in the beginning, we had so many talk about MOOCs being the next level of education, but nothing happened because students could not complete their grade. Most of the courses were completed at 5 to 10%. And that's where the way we teach an online learning course is called cohort-based course, where we start a cohort of students together. We monitor their progress on a regular basis. If they're falling behind, we chase them, we help them, we guide them.
My question, Mr. Dhawan, my question is not about what Upgrad is doing. My question is, why these? Can you think about why?
I've-
One very, yeah, why it is?
If you see the platforms like you talked about Diksha and other, they are self-learning portal. There is no cohort. There is no somebody who is supporting a student to complete a course. If student is missing, he's not attending the class for, let's say, 2 days or 3 days, he leaves. Nobody is going to question him whether you have studying or not. So assumption is that student will be self-motivated. They will get all the support on their own. There is nobody to teach them, nobody to guide them. And that is where these platforms fail. Apart from the poor technology and poor user experience and user interface, which I don't want to talk about, given that it's a common portal, obviously it takes time to evolve. The biggest reason why MOOCs have failed earlier is that if you expect a student to complete a course on his own, we have found people lacking motivation, and also there are a lot of other priorities which keep coming in between, which makes you leave that course in between.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So that one point is very clear. At any stage, the relevance of a good educator cannot be, challenged. So motivation has to be provided by the teachers. Moving on to Dr. Vinata Sai for the next question. And this is something we've actually asked previously also to other panelists from Amrita, and that's very favorite. They have a OLAB, which I was very impressed the first time I got to know about it. NEP 2020 emphasizes the creation of virtual labs, wherein students can practice their theoretical knowledge and make course content available in different languages. Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham is a pioneer in virtual labs using state-of-art computer simulation technology to create a real-world environment. And this not only provides experiential learning among students, but also elevates their problem-solving capabilities. So, Dr. Sai, could you please tell us more about these virtual labs? And are they popular?
Yes, see, I think of late, we are teaching digital natives. So there is no need to tell about, the popularity of these things, because see, always doing something, that is, okay, let me just first explain the virtual labs. Now, these have been in place, and Mr. Ankur Dhawan, rightly observed. So they have been here, just like online degrees. Even virtual labs have existed earlier, even pre-COVID days. So even 2012, it was made user-free, these virtual labs. So I think I'm going to tell the same thing again, how information is accessible. Now, virtual labs, now they are important because, and it's not restricted. Now, Amrita, this is again an initiative of the MHRD and MOE, again, Ministry of Education. So under their leadership, yes. So then we have the IITs and Amrita, so working together. And any field, if you can take up, it could be the physical sciences, it could be the biological sciences, computer science. Yes, we have Python programming in Python. Then you have software engineering. Then you have neural network lab, so, network lab and all that. So everything, electronics and communication engineering, electrical. So every field, students always prefer visual mode of learning. The classroom, yes, the teacher is present, but, drawing something on the board becomes really difficult. It's not easy. Now, what online, virtual labs have done is it has taken, the practicality, the experiential component, right to the students. So they have an overview of what the course is about. I mean, what the particular program is about. Then they can go into the problem itself. Then there is simulation there. So through those models, so it is this kind of modeling, this kind of simulation that allows them the animation, the videos that they can watch. So all this, you have the 360-degree kind of learning. So, and we know that communication per se is more appealing when it is visual. So visual plus experiential. Now that I think adds to the popularity of these virtual labs. So anything, be it robotics, even if you take mechanical engineering, so the automotive systems, then thermodynamics. So for everything, in every subject, name it, nanosciences. So any subject, it is very carefully prepared. The modules are very carefully prepared. So you have the subject first, you have the content first, and then you have the diagrammatic, the schematic presentation is there. And then there is, the virtual, setup comes in where the student can himself, herself, or if we have to use the current, okay, they is also accepted as a singular today. Okay, so students can themselves, go and, do any kind of experiment. So chips, we are talking about chip integration. So everywhere, be it the mobile or the camera or anywhere, you have these chips, computers even. So how it works, so IC networks or whatever, so anything. So they can do it for themselves. So there is a testing component. There is, again, an evaluation that is done. Assignments are there. So complete. So it is education, which is also on an experiential mode, So virtual labs are a huge hit. Students love, I have heard students saying that, the teacher who uses these labs in classrooms, they prefer those teachers because it is made more interesting, as I told earlier. So us merely giving word of mouth, oral teaching is not going to impress upon the students themselves or their minds even. And even the retention is not going to be that much. So today we are talking about everybody's attention span. I think it has lessened drastically. We are saying that it is less than a fish, even goldfish. Once upon a time, they were telling that it is equivalent to a goldfish. I think today it's lesser. So when such is the case, we are looking at different ways to impress upon youngsters, how to teach them, how to take it to them. They are also, they are also interested in it. They want information, they want knowledge, but at the same time, something that is palatable to them, something which is which can be easily imbibed, that I think virtual labs do it. These are very successful and they are open to all. I think that's again great. So you have IIT Delhi, Mumbai, Guwahati, even Kanpur, Kharagpur, and Amrita. Yes, we have been doing it since the early 2010. So 2012, it was made free for all. So from then onwards, and then it is being improvised, developed. So it is still being developed. So, there is no limit. We have AI and other things. So now AI is coming in. Yes. So how can we make these things interesting? So using AI tools. So I would say that virtual labs is a hit. Students love it. And it's something that they want. It's something, I think without that, probably teaching falls short, I would say. So teachers definitely will have to make use of these virtual labs in classrooms. And even without the assistance of teachers, students can make use of these virtual labs. One more thing. Also, where, you have equipment which is very expensive or something which is scarce even. So there again, these virtual labs play a crucial role. So not every college, could probably, buy this kind of equipment. They cannot afford it. So all the student has to do is, go on to these virtual labs and experience them.
Very well said, ma'am. But does it devoid the student of that experiential, learning or that experience where the child is actually placed in a physical environment? And second is, would you also suggest once the students are going back to school or back to colleges, so could there be a hybrid kind of a thing? The teacher is using the virtual labs. So, and for certain, courses, you said that where the institution cannot buy those expensive equipments, at least the student gets to know the experience or how it. So, just very briefly, if you could tell that to the viewers, to the educators, that once the students are back to school, they should not give up on virtual labs, rather, create some. And how would they create that? Very briefly, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay. So now one thing, I think even in the first segment, I told this. So hybrid learning is here to stay. We need both offline and online teaching and learning. So now these virtual labs, so teaching assisted, that is teacher assisted, learning also happens with virtual lab. And you are rightly mentioning that students, should not stop using this. Well, they will not, I think, because the teacher has certain limitations. The limitation of time is there. Okay. And then the limitation of, you have to reach out to a large group there. So how many experiments can a teacher do? I think that's where the virtual labs come to. So even after going back, to the campus or the institution, students will reach out to the virtual labs, or rather they should reach out to these virtual labs, because it is a kind of a practice, or it is an additional kind of learning that will happen there. So they need not stop with what is happening in the classroom. Something additional also goes on. That's what I would say. So yes.
Yeah. So recommendation to all the educators and teachers to use virtual lab, not just, you take it as a makeshift arrangement that was during the pandemic, but I think it will create a hybrid experience in your classes if you use the virtual labs. And one of the great labs is by Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham, which is known as the O Lab. Thank you so much, Dr. Sai. Moving on to Mr. Dhawan, we see that in the modern era, the role of online technology is providing, we've been discussing this, education, it's very vital for this. Online education is now more accessible to the less privileged groups in comparison to the, if we see the positive side of it, to the centralized classroom education system. Like if you see that the literacy rates, if we look at it, probably it would be because of the easy access, even your smartphone can be a teacher in terms of gadgets which can help you get educated. Now, we would like you to share with our viewers the usefulness, the credibility of only courses for not just for graduation and post-graduation, but general also. How would an online course be, I wouldn't say pitted against, but how would that be a better option when, as earlier also you spoke about scalability? So maybe elaborate a little more on that.
So is your question that how an online education for a K-12 student better online versus an in classroom?
Actually, because if we see that it's accessible now to more underprivileged students because of, so, and then you can elaborate.
Yeah, so I think when it comes to underprivileged students, and specifically you talked about students coming from the tier 2, tier 3 towns with less accessibility in terms of internet and other, a lot of companies are coming with very good solutions which do not require that much of bandwidth, and they will give you same content. I think one of the challenge which I found when I was doing that particular side of the education was that most of the content which is available in English. And the people who are coming from underprivileged background are looking for the content in their own language, whether it's Hindi or whether it's Tamil or whether it's Kannada. that is where I think a lot of work needs to be done if we want it to become as inclusive as we want the education for K-12 segment to be. When it comes to graduation and post-graduation, the life is straightforward, simple, because at that time we have seen even an underprivileged guy is able to understand a bit of English and he's working on improving his English. But when it comes to a class 5th, class 6 student, he needs a lot of support in terms of his own language. He understands that well. And that's one of the, I think, something which NEP also emphasizes, that the local language education is very important. Now, that was one thing which I found. And the second thing is, obviously, as you mentioned, that as I think Professor Jha was telling about, that there was a place where he found that teacher sending the assignment and the student sending back. That is a makeshift arrangement which a teacher adopted to ensure that the learning continues during pandemic. I think that is where the technology and the solutions have to improve, where this can be much more streamlined. I think that is also a work which is being done by some of the startups. I hope to see better solution for the K-12 segments.
Right. So also then, of course, related to this, we've been, because the next question, and I'm clubbing the other question with this, that there is also a challenge that competitiveness, everybody gets the similar certificates. You take a self-paced course, everybody gets it. And sometimes, you're half done also, you get that the certificate just is sent in your mailbox. I did one and I left it in between, and after some days I saw, oh, the certificate is, and that was from a very reputed, I wouldn't mention. So tell us some of the disadvantages of these MOOCs, and how can these companies, including your company, could make these courses more stringent, more powerful, more monitored, so that their value would definitely, because hands down, this is going to be the order of the future.
So
Ankur is laughing, so he realizes what I'm saying.
I think I want to bring out a point, Devyani, because that's why I said MOOCs, the way it was structured earlier was fading, and now we work with the universities. So you cannot get a certificate upgrade or triple IIT on this, because it's not something which upgrade is giving certificate. End of the day, it's a brand of triple IIT, it's a brand of Amrita Vidyapeetham, it's a brand of IMT Ghaziabad, who is giving that certificate. And they will not allow you to have a certificate unless you have cleared the course with the required marks. So proctored exams are being done right now. I think last session which you did on the assessments are being done and ensuring that the student is getting. I work with a German university, which is only on online distance education, and you cannot take their exam unless you show your passport and they match your photograph with that particular face. So yes, there is so a lot of so the value of the certificate goes down because a lot of certificates are given freely without sufficient effort by the learner. So that reduces the I'll say quality and the overall trust in the process. But at least the good organizations will not do that. That is one point. Second point which I wanted to bring out. We all say that grades do not matter. If you have 90% versus 60% versus 70%, that does not make you any different. If you have skill, you will be successful. So what online education is also trying to say, okay, I'm not going to worry about whether you're getting 95% or 80%, 70%, but if you have skills, which labs, as Dr. Sai talked about, or the other ways we are trying to inculcate the learning, if you prove that, only then you get a job. And as a company, as an upgrade, we are very, very career focused company. We ensure that our learners who are looking for the transition or acceleration in the career, they get that outcome. And for that, we have career services. You will be able to clear the course, but you need to have that skill, otherwise you will not be able to get the job. And going forward, jobs will be based on the skills and not based on your percentages which you're getting in the schools and colleges. That's very much clear in the new scenario where the interviews are happening like we're doing this way. The Zoom interviews are happening. People want to look at your portfolio. People want to look at what work you have done on the Git or whatever platform before they make you an offer.
Also, I would want to hear out that, because a few days back I was interacting with one of your team members, and they were talking about this blended course that you've come up with, which is partial online, and partial the student goes and stays. So
Yeah.
what is the difference between and how that is? Just very briefly, if you could tell us
So I
about
think
that.
every learner is different. They as we know that some of the learners are self-motivated. They will study on their own. They will not need a lot of push. But some of the learners want support. They still want to come in a campus environment, in a classroom. They want to talk to a teacher. So what we are realizing is that we cannot have one approach fitting everyone's need, and that's why we are customizing. So learners who want more support can come to a classroom, and still they will be studying online material only, and they will be doing the assignments there. But at least they will have a student supports, someone sitting with them who is doing the TA for them, who is helping them in understanding the topics which they're liking. So you need to customize the approach based on the learner's inclination, motivation, and his circumstances. So that's what we are trying to achieve through, as the COVID is allowing us to relax this whole restriction on on-campus learning. We will be able to give a better solutions to those learners who are not able to take a full benefit of online learning.
No, why I brought this up was because I was really impressed with that model, that it gives you the best of both the worlds. Very nice. My next question is addressed to Mr. Hemant Jha. Now, we see that Mr. Jha, MOOC itself is a revolutionary idea, and we've been discussing all this while about the MOOCs, their advantages, and how, some of the projects which are not popular, some private universities are trying to create that kind of a pitch with the students, while some educational institutes offer their MOOCs directly. There are many third-party institutes that collaborate with academic institutes of repute and offer courses. Whatever the delivery model, MOOCs are gaining popularity day by day, which we've seen. So just imagine someone from a remote village being able to watch a lecture by a professor of prestigious institute like an MIT. Here lies the beauty of MOOCs. How can, sir, or how would you encourage the children to go beyond the classroom structured curriculum and explore these courses and pursue ones that interest them? Because one is the curriculum that runs, that you have to do. The other is provided by these MOOCs, where also probably that leads to their enhancement of skill development. So, what is your take, and how the children in your school are reacting, and how you're taking it up? Yes, sir.
So, Mr. Kapoor, your basic question is how can we encourage our children to go beyond the curriculum, right? That is your
Yes.
question.
My question is yes. Yeah.
Interest them. Okay.
Right.
I hope all of us remember a beautiful quote of Benjamin Franklin. He said, "Tell me and I forget. Teach me, I may remember. Involve me and I learn." I tell you that a person with immense knowledge is of no use until he knows how to apply his knowledge. I just give an example to you, ma'am, that probably will interest you more. That when I visited Japan, I interacted with the students of class six and fifth, and I started thinking, what were they doing? The students were involved in working uh, with different kind of experimentations, how to make sail, dry sail. When I started thinking about what kind of curriculum that we have, that even our students in college, in graduation also do not know how to make the dry sail. Why do students try to have hand-on experience how to make, so that they are not going only beyond the curriculum, but they are indirectly being helped to choose their vocation also, that they can do later on in later part of life. I just tell you one instance, till class 8, we had the freedom to go beyond the curriculum. And you could have gone for different publications books. But for 9 to 12, there is no option. In one of the progressive schools where I work, I had discussed with my colleagues that don't teach the way that you want, teach the way that the children need. What
Mm.
do your children need may be different from what other school children would not need, you know. So try to design the curriculum. And I tell you very honestly that I initiated the curriculum designing work on my own first. I started taking the different chapters on my own as per the need of my students. And the most important part that I wanted to connect all those chapters with life, not only values, but skills also. You talked about skills, skills development, that in later part of life, they can utilize these skills as a profession, they can survive. And especially in India, where there is a lack of jobs, where we are struggling, though we are getting ahead, we are going better. But at the same time, we have less job opportunity. So why not to go beyond curriculum, so that, or the NCRT or SCRT or any other, they should frame this kind of, I know, I mean the syllabus, which can actually give an age to the student, who can learn something which can be used in real life situations. So I was amazed to see that the students of class 6 grade making battery. Why is there no problem of job there in Japan, but we have problem in India? You know, so I need that they should go beyond curriculum. They should try to do as per the need of the student, and they should fulfill their needs. Suppose if I am teaching some children in Delhi, or I am teaching some children in Muradabad, or if I am going to very remote area, so I may not discuss about carpentry skills, because when you go to any progressive schools, and if I start talking about carpentry, though I should not, demean any kind of profession, like the job of a barber, like job of a plumber. If you get a chance to visit UK, a plumber is well paid, a carpenter is well paid, and they get good, respect also, in the society. But what happens in India, that we try to make all the people, all the children, be engineers, be doctors, be, have accountancy, go for this course, that course, they are lucrative. So my point of concern is that let us go beyond curriculum, so as per the need of the children, so that they can use not only in developing their skills, but the values also. And I'm telling you about values. Many people say that uh, digital learning has no value. I tell you, a few days before, one person had visited my school, and he told that, sir, I have designed a book, that I will not want to name out the name of publication, doesn't suit, because that will look like promotion, you know. So what was he showing to me? He showed a book to me, and that book, wherever you touch, that used to give some kind of information, or not only audio but visual also, And the children, and suppose there was a book of, he told me the book of Ramayana, the book of Mahabharata, the book of Gita, the book of Quran, the Bible. And then when I touched that one, that gave so much information in audio-visual manner, that was so lured, that I was totally engrossed in watching. I think probably we should go beyond the curriculum in order to have the holistic approach, holistic development of the students. At the same time, we should ensure that they could get good job also, because our two aims are there. One is to make them a good human being, and second is good professional, successful person.
Very well said. And honestly, considering that maybe 3 years or 5 years down the line, we don't even know the kind of jobs that will be existing. And so it's more important to help children and hone them more with skills. And so parallel curriculums like MOOCs could be like a parallel curriculum. That's my take on it. That the skill developments can happen. There is a word curriculum which is running in the institution, but side by side, uh, that skill, honing those skills, age specific skills, industry specific skills, that should keep promoting. So now children will not be just sufficed with content and information. they'll have to go beyond the curriculum, means they'll have to develop the 21st century skills, and the list will keep expanding. Thank you, sir. My next question, and probably the last one in this round, and then we'll move into the Q&A round, is addressed to Dr. Sai. Now, I was researching, and honestly, we do talk about MOOCs, but to conduct a webinar, we have to really do a lot of research, because every time there are different topics that we take up. I came across CMOOC, that is connectivist, massive online learning course, where there is a joint development of the course material by student and teachers, like, probably a research paper in the West, where students collaborate with their teachers and develop some material. Here, that the materials are apt for future learning of the students, a very, very collaborative effect. What is the perspective of the university about this highest form of learning, which is a very, very, I would say, a participative pedagogical approach, where both the students and educators are involved in the co-creation of a curriculum or a project which could be used? How do we promote this kind of a mindset? Like, as sir was talking, teacher, not just to, the paradigm shift of an educator from a sage on the stage to a guide on the side. And I will go one step beyond that, co-creator of the, knowledge. Yes, Dr. Sai.
Yes. Now, this is where student-centric education, I think, comes into play. And at Amrita, I would like to tell that right from the first year, students are encouraged to collaborate with faculty researchers. So be it projects, be it paper publications. So any kind of, even for COVID, there were so many COVID studies conducted, and students were involved along with faculty. And, they have published their research even right in their first year. I think that's a kind of a major shift that's happening today. We were talking about, faculty publishing, but then you have a first year student publishing, and I'm sure that even school students will start publishing now. That's the kind of collaborative research that's happening today. And today the mantra is that, yes, collaboration. So it's not just collaboration between departments, where you see interdepartmental collaboration happening in research, but mainly with students in focus, because I think ultimately, they are the ones who are carrying the torch forward, and they have to be involved. And this also, see, there are different advantages to this. One, yes, so the inculcation of the habit of research right from the beginning. So even in their first years, so it's not that they have to come to the fourth year, they do a project, that's how it used to be earlier. The final year students do a project. No, so from the very beginning, they are taken into this. So that's one thing. So the kind of exposure that they get, that the research habit is also inculcated. The other thing is, because of this, they are exposed to, the latest in the fields. So their understanding of the subject also grows exponentially. And, they can go to conferences or international conferences or present. Now, anyway, it's online also. So one need not even go and present there. You can do it online, your presentation. So that can also happen. Third, again, if they want to study in the future, for their higher studies, that again, this is going to stand them in good stead, this kind of collaborative research, because today I think we understand that we need to collaborate. We can't live in silos. So, and I think students are at the heart of it. So students are involved. Then again, there's peer also learning that happens. So they do this. So the best ones also take it to their own classmates or their students or batchmates or even their juniors. So they impress upon them. We have all these clubs, and then so they take it to their juniors, and then they get them interested. So that is how, we have so many first-year students taking part in hackathons. One of our teams even won the national level, which was conducted by MHRD in association with various other ministries. And yes, so there were about 17,000 students, teams, 17,000 teams from all over India. And out of 4 members of the team, 3 of them were first-year students. 1 was a second-year student. So they were able to, they were finalists. So they were declared finalists, all of them. So they had declared, these people as finalists. So that I think is an honor. So right in the first, I think the moment they step in, the student induction program itself kind of outlines. So are you interested? Do you want to become an entrepreneur? Do you want to go into research? Do you want to go into higher studies? So, we kind of set these things clearly. And then from then on, it is for the student to catch up. So, they can go into the field that they want, and research, I think, is very important, especially India has been lagging in research actually. And I think it's now that we are trying to, really surge ahead in this. And I think with the help of students, so collaborative research is the way to go ahead. And I would say at Amrita and also various other universities. So at Amrita, yes, Amrita gives a lot of impetus to that, I would say. So wherein students perform, research right from the beginning. So it's not that you are too early for this, or you have to come to the 3rd year or 2nd year. No. So if they are ready for it, they can grab it. It's up to them. And as you mentioned,
research is a very, very...
These virtual
please
labs.
Go ahead.
Yes, you mentioned earlier these O labs. Now O labs, it's with schools. So again, it's free. As I told, virtual labs are also free. O labs are also free. So I think this kind of, when they do these experiments, there are these simulations, animations and all that. I think that feeds into them that spirit of research, I would say, because from that very moment, when they start doing things unassisted, I mean, kind of not in the laboratory, but then virtual also, it gives them the confidence, they can keep doing it again and again. Okay. And then coming to the campus, yes, you told rightly, having a baby in arms, that's a different thing altogether. Yes. But I think today it's going to be a mix of both. Both are important.
And I think that'll be such a marvel that, we get to see courses which are running and people are using, and those courses are collaboratively produced by students and, educators. So yes, research is a very, very important 21st century skill, and it helps you become problem solvers. It hones your creativity skills. And yeah, research is something and important. I would just, before I get into a Q&A round, one aspect, because this is something which keeps sticking behind at the back of my mind. In fact, last week I was visiting a certain city. I would like to name it also because one of our panelists is there. So I was in Moradabad and I was interacting with many edu leaders and interacting with principals, and everybody appreciated, the online platform. It's good to, as a discussion, we are discussing on various forums, and we're very happy about it. But everybody raised the concern that one, it's installation, the initial cost, then availability, the connectivity, and affordability, and of course these concerns. And this was again a tier 2, and these concerns are there. And on one hand, we are talking about technology as an enabler. Technology is going to stay, and our curriculums are such which are backed by technology. So what would be one last statement before we get into the Q&A round of each one of you. How do you see the future of technology integrated courses? We can take MOOCs only. I'll start with Mr. Ankur Dhawan. Yes.
See, the cost of technology is coming down as you are. More the adoption, the lesser the cost. So in that sense, I think the big question which you asked is like it's complicated, it's costly, it's not somebody who everybody can understand. Especially for the schools, it's very difficult because that's not their competitive advantage. That is not what they do for their living. They are there to teach. They are there to create curriculum. They are there to measure learning outcomes, not do technology. So that's where I see a lot of challenges which schools and colleges face when it comes of technology. But I think given that there are a lot of investment coming in this particular field, EdTech is right now in mind of every VC and private equity fund. The money will help in creating better solutions, easier solutions, affordable solutions for the schools and colleges. So that's my understanding, and that will improve the adoption as well.
Would you pitch your courses, and do you think they'll be popular in a tier 3 city? Would you think?
I think the reason we exist is because of this tier 2 and tier 3 towns, especially when we talk about the online degree program. The students are taking it from the towns where they don't want to come to Delhi or Bangalore or Chennai to complete their courses from the same good colleges such as Amrita here, and talking of other good colleges we work with, Chandigarh University, Jain University, all of these.
Yeah, but very quickly, do you think your courses, and that is for the general information of the audience, do you think your courses in the higher ed are affordable, and the ones which are collaborative with foreign universities as well, are they affordable? And do you think there are takers in tier 3, tier 2 cities? Very quickly, I mean.
No, sure. Good question. See, affordability again depends on if you're talking of going abroad versus studying India and getting the same degree. I think it's very affordable. But if you compare with the Indian university courses, it's not that affordable. So different courses are targeting different population. When we work with the universities to offer Indian courses to Indian population, those are very affordable. But when we talk about universities abroad, such as University of Arizona or Northern Arizona University, if you go and study there, it is very costly. So compared to that, it's still affordable. So affordability will be always there when it comes to online education.
Great. Thank you so much. Jhasap, it was Muradabad only where I was interacting. And I really want to hear you out on this, because you will be the right person to speak on this. That here we are sitting and talking about MOOCs and C MOOCs and so many things and self-paced courses. Are we actually ready? Are our youth ready to take this such courses on, very honestly and very candidly?
Ma'am, your question is very interesting. Your question is, are youth ready? My question is just other way. Are the teachers ready? Are the schools ready? Is the management ready? All youth want the best thing that they want. And at this juncture, I tell you, children want everything. They know everything about what the students in progressive institutions or in metro cities are getting. They are also lured toward that one. But the question is affordability. You told me one thing, that it is costly. I tell you, when there is online teaching, cost of transportation is nil, accommodation is nil, overall cost of institution based learning, that is nil. Flexibility is another interesting aspect of online learning. How many advantages are there? But the problem is this, that in Muradabad, a city like Muradabad, which you neither call it a city nor a metro city nor a village, it is in between. Its situation is like virus, rather living, not non-living. The question is that how many of the people by interest, by choice, went for online learning? They knew that there is no option. And I'm telling you that whatever you are saying today, that will become true after 5 to 10 years, when they will be forced to have these kind of facilities in Moradabad, city like Moradabad also, and they will do it. But only the problem is that they look at the present and mindset of the parents also. I am telling you, most of the parents, if you come across, they will say, please offer science course to my children. I want my children to be engineers or doctors. Please don't give commerce. When I offer commerce to those children, those who are weak children, means they could not perform well in academics. And we say that you go for humanities. No, sir, at least you give commerce. Commerce with math, they will have some advantages. They will have something. So my problem, my concern is that what kind of courses that you are talking about, various courses are available, and research is, you talked about research. I tell you, the best way of researching is through online only. Online mode is the best way. Digital library is the best place where you can go for the research in the best possible manner and at a quicker pace of time, in comparison to go through, all those books in hard copies, and then you start, just click of button, you get all the information. So as far
Right.
as
So that is you support. You support
I
this.
support wholeheartedly, if you are futuristic, if you are far-sighted, if you are thinking 10 years ahead of what you are today, then you have to accept all these kind of things, and you have to put into your infrastructure, your teaching learning process, teaching learning pedagogy. Otherwise, you will be left far behind, and there will be no comparison, and we will remain weak in the field of education. That is what.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I think all good things come with a price. The price could be monetary, the price could be the challenges, but everything when we is new, it has its own teething troubles and its incubation time, which gradually we pass through. And so we are in that kind of an incubation period. Now coming,
And
Ji
here
sir.
that when people, we asked our teachers to use the computer, they said, sir, this is not the
Ji.
time. I'm telling the story of 1991. They said, sir, this is not the time for us to use computer. We don't know what mouse is all about. I don't know what it is all about. And I remember that time, one of the companies, Intel, had come that time, to give this kind of training. And nobody was ready. But then I was the first one who took initiative, being the head of the institution. And then I asked my coordinators, heads, all others, and then, slowly and gradually, now they
I
understand the
also
importance.
took.
They not understand the importance. Similarly, I am telling you, whatever you are saying, Mrs. Kapoor, people will realize its essence and importance and its benefits. Of course, if pocket does not permit, we have to cut the coat, as per cloth only, according to the cloth. But at the same time, not at the cost of the generation, future generation, not at the cost of children, because whatever we are earning, whatever we are getting, we are doing for the sake of our children. That is our aim, and everybody has that aim. If they have the aim, they should go beyond, to some extent, beyond their pocket permit, and they should definitely try to have these kind of facilities in their system. I say.
Okay, thank you so much. Since we are running short of time, we'll be moving on to the question and questions from the audience. And the first question that I'm seeing here is for Dr. Vinata Sai. And I think, Dr. Sai, this question is from Miss P. Mehta, Varanasi. And she wants to ask, and maybe you could reiterate the point which you had made earlier as well, that what's the future of digital education for the practical subjects? So maybe if you could just reiterate the same discussion briefly, what we were talking about.
Correct. So if it is schools, yes, they're also, I think I have unmuted. Yes. Okay. So it is schools. Yes, even there we have digital education. So digital education in every sense, right from mobile assisted learning or computer assisted learning. And then you have virtual labs. It can be, or even assessment tools, LMS, even learning management system. I think everybody is investing in these things today. So it has to be digital, because we cannot go back to the old system, the chalk and talk kind of method. I think everybody has realized, and so virtual learning is important because students want that. And we've just spoken that it is student-centric today. It is learner-centric. And so I think digital learning is the future. So unless and until we integrate, these methods that are available, these gadgets that are available, teaching will not reach the students. And that is what they want. We have seen that digital learning, a recent research says that 75% to 80% feel that it is useful, it is easy to use, and they are accepting it. So, I think we just have to reiterate that digital learning is the way forward.
Yeah. Dr. Sai, there is also another question which I can see is addressed to you only, so because I thought it'll be related, then I will go to the other panelists. This is Ritesh Patania from Delhi asks that in what ways, in fact, this could have been in the last session, but since it's addressed today, in what ways is AI going to affect assessment criteria? In what ways? Yes. So whatever the question means, in what ways is artificial intelligence going to affect assessment criteria? We've taken the question as it is. Assessment.
Okay. Now, the presence of AI or artificial intelligence in our lives is no more hush-hush. It's out there for all of us. So it's practically invaded every aspect of our lives. So assessment is not going to be behind. We're reading so much about the Squid Game and other things, Netflix and all that, how they are using AI tools to make us watch what they want, the content that they want, So read what they want, buy what the sellers want. So also in assessment, we are going to make use of artificial intelligence. Now, the main thorn there in assessments is, all of us have tried, various ways, but still, I think that's one of the most, difficult aspects of digital education. Assessments are still being difficult. So AI will help us to monitor better, to curb the kind of practices, the unfair practices that students can indulge in. And also, AI can also help us in preparing, better question papers and other things, in the sense that, because it can tell us how we can effectively prepare questions, because today we are going forward with calculated questions and other things because students cheat. We give each one a different, kind of statistical element or, field there so that they cannot cheat. You cannot copy another's answer. So each one's unique. Each one's question paper will be unique. That is what we do. So going forward, AI could help us, with something more, because, in the sense that how to curb these unfair practices, I think that is where AI will play a major role to make these assessments fair, because only then it will be fair. Only when, because those who are unfair, if they are going to, as you said, everybody gets the certificate. So, if everybody passes, that's not going to be fair. So, kind of good. I think the system should be good enough to filter, those who do correctly and then those who, follow some other practices.
I think, yes. I think proctoring of examinations will also come under this. So that is where the AI will be.
Yes, proctoring also has its issues. So I think that's where AI will probably come in.
Could be, right now, could be. All right. So the next question is to Mr. Him. Yes, sir.
Mrs. Kapoor, I just give an example. Please don't take it seriously.
No, please. Yeah.
There are two major examinations which are taken place after class 12. Children, they appear for the board examinations. One is for medical examination, that is NEET, and another examination, that is JEE Main and Advanced. Now you see
Right.
see the comparison between the two. Both of these examinations are conducted by National Testing Agency. One of them adopts the digital way, that is the online examination system, and second one is that is the offline examination system. And you must have got the report, that many where there has been a leakage of question papers of medical examination. So you can understand the difference that how it would be fair to have the digital assessment, AI that ma'am talked about. I think probably the time comes, doodh ka doodh, pani ka pani, the best part of the assessment will be AI, not the, and it avoids the human error also to great extent.
It
So
will,
I think
it will. And I think Ankur was talking about, Ankur, could you just tell us about, you were talking about in Germany, they have completely put it on, on proctoring of examinations. I think you were giving us an example there.
Yeah. So I was talking about the German university which we work with, and their all exams are proctored exams. Even the students who are studying in campus, they have to go through the online exams only. So they are not expected to sit in the classroom and give exams. So adoption of technology as the technology improves is going to happen. And as you guys are discussing, artificial intelligence, as it becomes smart like us human, it will catch all the cheating mechanism that the student can follow to cheat the exam. So I think as the technology improves, I think these all manual interventions will stop.
Yeah. And now coming to the end of the question, I would like each one of you to give your summing statement and like a suggestion, whatever comes to your mind, to the students when it comes to, maybe you want to talk about MOOCs or you want to talk about AI in assessment, but what suggestion would you want to give to students or to universities or to even schools as institutions related to our discussion today? I begin with, and you just have 1 minute to sum. It's a summing statement. I begin with Dr. Sai, then move on to Mr. Jha, and then to Mr. Ankur Dhawan. Yes, Dr. Sai.
Yes. So to teachers, yes, they've all embraced this. I know people who did not know even what a mouse is. Yes, I think, but today we all attended MOOCs, and I think they've done a fabulous job. I mean, we're reading stories of heroism, actually, teachers going all out to help their students. As far as institutions are concerned, I think I mean, be it Tier 1, Tier 2, whatever, I think everybody has realized that, digital development or digital advancement is important in an institution. I mean, you could cut corners elsewhere, but not here. I think students will require that. So they must have, and for students, yes, everything is just at their fingertips. All they have to do is reach out. So, these kind of learning portals that are there, be it, as even the other panelists have been telling, Mr. Ankur and the others. So there are MOOCs, there are virtual labs, there are, other YouTube content is there. So all these are there. So let them, kind of add, their learning in the classroom. So let them do it, with this kind of, it should not stop with the classroom learning. It is in the hands of the student to, kind of go in that acceleration path. It is only in their hands, if they want to prove their competence, it is purely in their hands, and they can do it with the help of all these platforms, I would say. So just grab the opportunity.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Mr. Jha, what is that summing statement of yours?
My summing statement is a humble supplication to all the students and parents that whatever the expense that you want to cut short from other things, please do that. But please don't compromise with the education and the future of the children. And I also advise or suggest my students, those who have developed the habit to have the pocket money, that if they have to spend over anything, please go for a digital learning also, because I am not in favor of complete digital learning, neither in favor of traditional. I want to go for blended learning. Let us take it as an opportunity that we have got it, and we must grab the opportunity, as ma'am said. Please, sooner or later, you will find its essence, you will find its need, you will find its benefit, most important thing in your life, and you will remember my line that my life was changed because of one thing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And Mr. Ankur, what is your one summing statement?
My summing statement to students will be the way you have adopted technology in other parts of your life, such as traveling when you use your Uber Ola app, as such as ordering food when you use Swiggy and whatever app you use, such as whatever. So ordering a dress or ordering shoes, everybody is not ordering from Amazon. So do not worry about the technology when it comes to education. It is the same. It's just that making you flexible, giving you opportunity to learn at your pace and as per your time and as per your skill set. And that is what the technology is trying to do. So do not worry about it. Do not become so conservative that I don't want to do online learning. I am waiting for my colleges to open, then only I start learning. Do drop that attitude. I think that online learning or a blended learning, as Sir has said, is going to be the norm going forward.
Very well said. I think very well said. And our students would have taken advice of Mr. Ankur that, you don't need to actually wait for that time to come, but you need to constantly keep learning. And if school institutions are closed, knowledge is open, options are there. So go on for MOOCs. And yeah, I explored the way you've adopted Uber and all these apps for ordering food or other things. Yes, put your best foot forward and embrace technology, embrace MOOCs. At a time when retaining and upskilling are the norms, MOOCs give students and professionals the opportunity to continue their education outside of formal university setting. The sheer variety of MOOCs allows you to use these courses to supplement a college education or gain entirely a new skill and knowledge. MOOCs also benefit working professionals who want to learn specialized and technical competencies to advance their career. These online classes are a great tool to network with other learners and industry experts worldwide. With this, we come to the end of our session. We will soon be back with the next episode of Decoding National Education Policy to deliberate on another yet pertinent theme. Keep watching for our updates on our social media handles and do send us your ideas, your thoughts, your questions, your queries at info@edudevs.com. Thank you so much, all our esteemed panelists, for joining us and helping our viewers understand the great importance of MOOCs. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you.